What is up, guys? Eric here from Real Film Reviews, bringing you another movie review, this time for the new Daniel Radcliffe film, Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein is the retelling of the famous Mary Shelley book that's been around since literally the 1800s and has been put to film more than a handful of times. However, this is a new reimagining told from the point of view of Igor. Now, going into this movie, I didn't really know what to think because I've never seen any of the old Frankenstein movies. I've seen the Mel Brooks Young Frankenstein, but other than that, and that's even a comedy, so it wasn't much of the horror film aspect, which I think this is what I thought this was going to be heading towards. However, going into this, it actually wasn't much what I expected it to be. It had a much more science-y feel to it than it did a horror film, which I really liked because I think that's the most important part of the story of Frankenstein, is more that man thinks he's God rather than look at this monster destroy things. I enjoyed the way that they retold the story through Igor's point of view. I thought it was an interesting way to do it. They also changed some of the little facts that go along with Frankenstein traditionally. For example, they take away his hunchback, which I did enjoy because it made it so Igor didn't seem like such a fake character, because a weird hunchback assisting a creepy doctor just seems like something written out of a horror book. So making it so he's just a guy made it a lot easier to watch, and it made it a lot more believable. This movie also had a lot of cool special effects. There were a few moments that were cheesy, but for the most part it had a lot of small special effects going on in the backgrounds with lightning and different things going on with the electricity, and it actually all looked really good. By far the best part of this entire film, though, was James McAvoy as Victor Frankenstein. He was absolutely phenomenal in this movie, honestly, in my opinion. I mean, it's not a movie that he's going to get an Oscar nomination for or anything like that, but I actually thought he played the role very well, and I completely believed him. Daniel Radcliffe was also good. He didn't quite sell me as much, but he was also playing the stranger character in Igor. However, he was still also very good in the film, and overall this movie had a very good feel to it in terms of the way they would describe the science, because there's another character who's a detective that is sort of investigating what Frankenstein is doing throughout the film, and the dichotomy between him and Frankenstein themselves was actually one of my favorite parts of the whole film, because it shows the difference between religion and science, and I think that that's something that even to this day we argue about in the world. So I think that them putting it into this movie with this context made it a lot easier to understand for some people. However, that was another thing I didn't like about the film that goes along with that, is this movie kind of spoon-fed you the meaning of Frankenstein. It didn't let the viewer figure out what you're supposed to understand from the story of Frankenstein. It just kind of told you straight up, hey, this is what Frankenstein, the book, is supposed to be about, and this is what you're supposed to get out of the story. And I kind of wish it would have just let the people figure it out themselves, because The Great Gatsby did a similar thing in Baz Luhrmann's take on it. However, it was still a very good film. The only two cons I have with this film are, for one thing, the director chose to use slow motion in some sequences that was completely out of place. He also took a lot of different aspects of the film that would have been there at the beginning, and then they just wouldn't be there at all through the end, or through the middle of the film, such as voiceover and these interesting drawings of anatomy when the characters would look at certain people. They wouldn't be there at all in the middle of the film, and then at the end he brought them back. So in some points it was kind of like, I get what you're doing since you introduced that earlier in the film, but you should have had it be a common thing throughout rather than just bring it back at the end when it was convenient. And the other thing, which is the main con with this film, is there is a completely unnecessary love story in this film. There is a character that's introduced early on that really serves one purpose, which is to make Victor Frankenstein and Igor meet. However, once they've met, her entire place in the film is completely unnecessary, and she serves zero purpose to the story, and I kind of wish she just wouldn't have been involved after they had met, because she added nothing else to the movie. I'm gonna give Victor Frankenstein a B-. Overall, I think it was a pretty good retelling of a very old story, and I really enjoyed the revamped ideas that they put into it. I think that James McAvoy was great, and if they do end up making sequels, which I don't know if they should, I really hope he does come back for them. However, the sequel route does not seem like the proper way to go with a story like this. I think this is a one-and-done type of story, although knowing movie companies, they'll probably try to make more sequels to it. Well guys, as always, I'm Eric. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of Victor Frankenstein, share everything we do here on Real Film Reviews, and I hope to see you guys later.